Well, I'm sorry to say that it feels pretty unlikely that I'm even going to bother with the European title in this game. As far as I can tell, William Regal, the only European wrestler I can remember that is still alive, at least as to when I'm commenting on this, is not on the roster for this game. He might have still been working for WCW when this was released. In fact, the only European I can find in this game's roster is British Bulldog, a damn talented wrestler and amazing performer who died of an enlarged heart. The constant painkillers and steroids he took in his life did not help matters in the least, and I already gave myself enough of an emotional beatdown by playing as China for the women's belt. Ugh. Once I'm done slamming against the tag and world belts, I'll do an extra 2 matches, one of which will be a Royal Rumble, and then I'm rolling the credits. I'm really sorry for anyone who was expecting a full playthrough of this game, especially since this game is such a nice time capsule into the period when pro wrestling was at its most popular. Still, part of the point behind playing video games as a whole is to have fun, and I'm running out of steam in a game that has very little in the way of actual storytelling to go through. Not that you absolutely have to have a story to make a game feel fun, but it's one of the factors I typically look for when I do an LP. Anyway, it seems the Brothers of Destructions have to fight against Eddie Guerrero in China. This is certainly an interesting pair of opponents to wind up against. I certainly know that at the time this game was released, that Eddie certainly wasn't treated like he could take on either of these guys and win. Hell, it wasn't until 2004 that he ended up in a fatal 4-way match with The Undertaker, Booker T, and JBL. I know I said he took on The Rock one-on-one at one point, but that was more of one of the cases where a top star went up against a mid-carder for the sake of giving the top stars some more variety in who they fight from time to time. Unlike later eras, frickin' Cena and Orton, the Bookers still tried to give some level of maybe it is a competitive sport, even if they absolutely leaned on the fact that the business had been exposed to the point that you just couldn't keep things hidden anymore, especially after the chaos that was the Montreal Screwjob. Okay, definitely feel like I'm having more trouble than I should be against these two. But then I'm basing that on how the previous match we went through flowed, and that definitely is a bad way to anticipate things. It doesn't matter what context you're talking about. When you expect your next match to go like your previous one, you're just asking for trouble. Yet another crotch shot to a woman where she reacts exactly like a man getting punched in the balls. I'm not gonna miss that when we move on to other wrestling games in the future, just like I'm not gonna miss the fact that modern shooters don't bother having someone grab their crotch in absolute agony when the bullet landed in the chest or head like in GoldenEye. For some visual gags, it's best to keep them in the past on hardware that's no longer being produced. Oddly disappointed that China didn't accidentally hit Eddie there. It's kind of a standard trope in and out of wrestling for someone trying to hit a guy who's being held from behind to accidentally strike the person holding him instead of his intended target. I suppose this game is just a bit too basic to pull that off. Perhaps in later wrestling games I'll end up doing that in the future. Not too sure if I'm a better player as Kane than I am as The Undertaker, just like back when I tried going through WrestleMania 2000. Still, Kane hasn't taken as many hits as The Undertaker has at this point. I'm sure that means something, though I'm sure I'll lose track of who's the more injured member of our team at some point. I know I keep pointing out this issue in this and the other N64 games, especially in this particular one, but it does warrant repeating over and over again that we have nothing to determine just how injured any given character really is around here. All you can do is guess based on what you know and has been done to given character. And maybe if they're holding a body part, slower getting to their feet, or bleeding from the face, but those are not sure signs. Well, she certainly seems to like taking elbows to the face, at least in the context of this match. Wait, the AI managed to miss being able to tag like that? I thought only the player had to worry about screwing up that sort of finicky thing. I'm sorry, but slapping the back of our head like that feels less like an actual attack and more like a close friend going, "You're doing something stupid right now." Was the dope slap even a thing back when this game was made? Because I know it only became a thing in my family when NCIS started doing it. And I don't remember when NCIS started running. I swear, for a good amount of time on television, cop shows felt like they'd taken the same cultural slot as the old westerns. As of when I'm working on this commentary, comic book related stuff is in that same slot, the same major fad. And my father bet 20 bucks that the next big thing after that is going to be sci-fi. Personally, I think we're due for sword and sorcery sort of stories, taking the absolute top spot in media. But then with streaming, it's harder to tell what's on the rise, since everyone's going to their own bubbles. And some are watching things in, shall we say, cheaper ways than the streaming services we're expecting. So at this point, I think it's completely impossible to accurately judge just how popular a given thing is anymore. Damn, was hoping to do a back body drop or something, and instead we get speared. At least I think we were tackled there. I couldn't see too clearly what knocked us down, since China and The Undertaker were blocking the camera there. Well, this match is certainly turned into something that is far from one-sided. We are just trading shots left and right here. And good God, why am I getting the feeling that the AI on our side is contributing more actual damage than I am? Maybe it's just me feeling demoralized that I'm still just as skilled/unskilled in tag matches as I was in WrestleMania 2000. Where pretty much every longer match we went through was a tag match that we were given no warning for. I mean, come on. You would think either the mechanics would have been shifted a bit to make it a bit easier to do while doing single player, or... So, of course, here I am doing the tag belt in this game because I remember it being one of the more fun experiences of the game. But I didn't account for the fact that without a second player on my side, tag matches are just an absolute grind for me. Or at least, just for me. I'm sure there are far more skilled players of No Mercy out there on the internet, and they've posted various videos of it somewhere. Unfortunately, most streamers and Let's Players I'm aware of that do wrestling games tend to prefer more recent stuff like WWE 2K14, 2K16 and 2K18. Those are the easiest for me to find. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, or maybe YouTube's algorithm as I hit the search button isn't sending me to the other people who want to showcase WWF No Mercy. Considering just how beloved this game is to the wrestling community, there is no way I'm the only person to ever decide to do some commentary for it. Still, I hope I manage to make things entertaining in their own right here, even as I'm not quite as enthused to go through the rest of the game as I was when I started the LP. Good God, if there's some way to control our ally on the apron, then I've never been able to figure it out. I'm sure if there was some way to command the guy to do some general actions, then I could possibly pull off something that might come across as some basic synergy or something along those lines, but no. The Brothers of Destruction in both this game and WrestleMania 2000 just feel less like the sum of their high-level parts here. Great. I tag in Kane, and Kane gets knocked down before throwing a single punch. Have I mentioned that I feel oddly like a weak link around here, even though I've been the one in the ring and doing most of the attacks and counters that we've seen from our team? It's just hard to have much in the way of morale around here when we're about 10 minutes into this match, and I still have no clue how much more we have to do to secure the win. At least this time I had the sense to do the occasional tag. Sometimes I feel like I just isolate the first person I start the match as in these kinds of things because I'm a stubborn bastard. Not too sure why I went for a second Irish whip there. Can't really say I'm paying for that now, since, well, we're still in the old stalemate we've been in for most of the match. If China had kept up the pressure, she could have potentially gotten to her special and powerbombed us. Though maybe that's just me being pessimistic. At the very least, it feels like Eddie is the easier of the pair to take down here. And now I can't help wishing that China and Eddie's lover's spat story had gone into the pair of them fighting against one another directly. That certainly felt like what they were angling for a while back then. And given some of the other wrestlers that had fought China back then, it wouldn't have been a black mark against Eddie to lose to China if it came to that. Dear God, while it does make sense these days for the company to not have women fight in the heavyweights and super heavyweights, the fact of the matter is that matches don't typically give a damn what weight class a given person is, so that new limit just seems more arbitrary now. Hell, how many times has the Big Show gone up against cruiserweights to help highlight how massive he is? Which of course makes things all the more interesting when one of the smaller guys manages to get the win against him. Again, Beth Phoenix had the talent and the physical prowess to actually overshadow China's accomplishments if she'd been booked the right way. But since Beth wasn't allowed to go one-on-one against men in the same way China was, the storytelling for her was crippled in comparison. I'm not saying have her beat someone like Cena or Orton, but it would have been pretty plausible for her to take on a number of the male mid-carders. Bit of an awkward way for a potty to fly after that kick, but still awesome to see. I think I can officially say we've taken control of the match now, and based on the raw footage, I should be able to squeeze in another match into this clip. Okay, so Kane still has the Tombstone as his finisher, even if The Undertaker dropped that for this game. I really wish that the choke slam was his special though, since that was the main finisher that Kane used for his entire time as that character. He only used the Tombstone as adding insult to injury when fighting The Undertaker, as far as I remember. And there was a funny bit where The Undertaker tried to teach him the last ride, and he screwed up by throwing the guy over his head. She's definitely going to be nice and busy while we pin her boyfriend here. And that does it. That match is finally done. Good God, do I wish there was a narrative reason for this fight other than just we needed a fight to go through in this action-oriented game. Something to make the 13.5-minute brawl feel more awesome to have won. Anyway, looks like Kane has a special victory animation as well. How many other wrestlers around here have that sort of thing in this game? Should I even bother asking why that match gave us more money than the first one? It's not like I'm actually paying all that much attention to the money in this game anyway. Once again, 2 men enter and only 1 man is acknowledged on the card. And I'm pretty sure that the Brood theme is still in this game. So why not have that playing instead of that tune, since these two were part of the Brood? Wait, so the #1 contender for a team-based title have to go through a 4-way match that is in every way similar to a match we would go through for a single belt? I know that's not much variety that they could have gone for tag team matches, but still, come on. That's about as nonsense as having the women's belt determined by a mixed tag match. And it looks like, once again, it's an elimination-based match instead of a fatal 4-way. I'm not all that worried here. I think we can manage to hold our own well enough to be the last man standing. I'm just confused this match was placed in the tag team beltline story. Well, Jeff is certainly having a bad day at the moment. Okay, never seen a spinning jumping headbutt outside of an anime of some kind. And usually, whoever pulls a move like that has a horn or a beak. And I don't think Bubba Ray Dudley has that going for him, as he tries to drill right through Scotty 2 Hotty. Oh, come on. Why did Scotty decide to go after me like that when he was getting pounded on by Dudley? And why did my low blow hit Dudley instead of... I mean, that just went right through his thigh. Ugh. This is going to be a mess of a match just for the sake of giving us a mess of a match here. Unless, of course, I leave the whole beat-down Jeff Hardy thing for outside the ring and let those two keep fighting inside of it. It's not like there are any countouts in this one. Not really sure what the point is of stopping the strangle in that particular way, especially if you're outside the ring and the referee isn't around to complain about the specific way you're attacking somebody. But I suppose we need some way for it to stop after a certain amount of time, otherwise we'd just be looking at whoever initiated the submission move doing it indefinitely. Why did I even bother trying to pin him outside when this isn't a hardcore match? If you're gonna pin him, it absolutely has to be inside the ring. And frankly, I want to wear him down with a bit more before we try that. Now, part of me thinks that giving him the last ride after everything else we've done to him might be overkill. But again, it's not like this game does anything to tell you what condition your opponents are in. Wait, did The Undertaker just apply the mandible claw out of nowhere? I'm sorry, but I call bullshit on The Undertaker using Mankind's finisher as a normal move. Okay, apparently Dudley is the one taking the last ride, not Jeff. A bit random on my part, but hey, after the beatdown that Jeff has taken so far, I don't see too much potential for him to make a comeback. whereas Bubba Ray here has been doing a pretty solid job against his opponent in the match, and so, outside of The Undertaker, it's probably the most dangerous, fresh person here. This is only a guess though, especially since guessing is the only thing we can do around here when it comes to figuring out where the proverbial blood in the water is and what the strong points are. And we're back to Dudley fighting Scotty and me fighting Jeff. Not too much of an issue with that he kicked out, but still slightly annoying. Though it's just plain hilarious that I tried to punch the air in the frickin' dick. It's one thing for the likes of China, Triple H, or Eddie Guerrero to do low blows, but a big guy like The Undertaker, who is most definitely not that type of heel even when he's a heel, should be doing clotheslines like his brother. Seriously, who on the design team decided that The Undertaker, of all people, needed to deliver low blows like that when fighting various opponents, most of whom are smaller than him? It just feels out of character for him, no matter what stage of his career I think about. Why did I even think that wouldn't result in a rope break when we've already tried pinning from that angle before and saw how his hands would move in response? Well, okay, if Scotty wants the pin, I won't deny him that. I also won't get between him and the hard hit he's about to take from Dudley. Well, it didn't take long for things to go from 4 to 2. And considering we've already hit him with one last ride, it shouldn't take too long to finish this thing while Jeff and Scotty just brawl outside for no apparent reason. That head-rising thing just doesn't feel like much of a taunt, especially when it's not like The Undertaker's hair works in any way that makes it shift around when he does it. Assuming I bother to LP various wrestling games even after the point when I stopped watching the shows, is there going to be a point where they actually manage to make some damn nice flowing hair that acts reasonably close to what you would see in real life? Granted, that might be more graphical trouble than it's worth, but still. Right, time for him to take another last ride or two. Definitely not a great way to decide who gets the #1 contender slot for the tag team titles, but hey, at least we've won and we'll see what the booker has lined up for us next. I'm hoping it's something that gets back to remembering this is for the tag team titles.